Go ahead. Okay, planning zoning board meeting, City of Lake Worth Beach, March 4th, 2026, now call to order. May we please have the roll?
Sure. Dan Waleski,
Present.
Daryl Shadow,
Present.
Dave Matthews,
Present.
Hank Pausky,
Present.
Greg Richter,
Present.
Mark Hum,
Present.
Daniela Amadora. You have a quorum.
Great. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Are there any additions, deletions, or reordering of tonight's agenda from the staff?
None.
Nope. Okay, we'll have the approval of the minutes. Are there any additions, deletions to the minutes? If not, may I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll move to approve the minutes for the February 4th meeting.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, swearing of staff and any applicants?
Please stand and raise your right hand if you plan to give testimony. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Any withdrawals or postponements this evening?
None.
Okay. Board disclosures from anybody on the board? Board disclosures at all? None? Thank you. We can move on to new business. New business A. PZB project number 25000034. Request by Elsie Tora Alba for the approval of previously installed murals located on all buildings facade at 301 North Dixie Highway. The subject site is zone mixed use, Dixie Highway, that's MU-DH, and has a future land designation of mixed use -east, which is MU-E. Staff?
Good evening, all. My name is Tia Villegas, Associate Planner with the Department of Community Sustainability. We will be discussing PZB project number 25-0000034. The subject site is located on the northwest corner of North Dixie Highway and 3rd Avenue North. The applicant from Lupita's Tex-Mex requests approval for multiple previously installed murals on each facade of the structure as seen on the slide. The murals portray elements from Mexican and Guatemalan culture. As noted in the staff report, the murals were designed and completed by Daniela Sanchez Vegas. The images shown on the slide are previously installed murals completed by the artist. The proposed murals are consistent with the city comprehensive plan and strategic plan. As conditioned, the murals comply with the applicable land development regulations, with the exception of the proposed mural on the east facade, which requires board consideration due to its location facing a major thoroughfare, and the commercial messaging on the west facade, which will be addressed through a separate building permit for wall signage. Accordingly, staff recommends that the board evaluate the appropriateness of the mural location proposed on the east facade, as well as the remaining murals. Staff responses to the criteria were provided on pages 3 and 4 of the staff report. These are the potential motions.
Am I to understand that the murals are already installed without prior approval and you're essentially conducting like a retroactive review? Is this what this is about?
Yeah.
Any questions from the board?
I guess the only question I have is with regards to the signage, or it's signage because it has their name. So art is a
Exactly.
mural, the name is signage.
Yeah.
Have you guys taken a look at that? Is that going to conform, or do you think they're going to have to change that?
It looks like they may have to reduce it a bit, because wall signage is one square foot per the linear feet of the business frontage. They will have to reduce it a bit, but they are aware of that when they go to the wall sign permit process. So right now it shows as 10 by 14. The the frontage is I want to say it was 30 feet for the frontage. I'd have to double check that, but regardless, it is reviewed against the wall sign regulations for it because Lupita's is considered commercial messaging.
Would it just be the words or is it the entire kind of mural that they painted, then they put the words inside of it?
Our code says that it would be the entire mural on that side.
When you say the code says that, could you tell us?
The section.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Can you open this?
Well, she's looking that up. I mean, we've talked about this before about murals facing the east, which could be Dixie or Lucerne and 3 or 4 main districts facing the east due to the fact that it could be a distraction of drivers. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is the basis for that regulation to ensure that it's consistent with the character of the surrounding area. And of course, you know, any kind of visual distraction that it may present.
The section I'm referring to is 23.5-1, E13C. It says if printed commercial messages are included in a mural, the entire mural shall be considered part of the overall allowable signage permitted by code.
Sorry, could you read that one more time?
Yeah.
Thank
If permitted commercial messages are included in a mural, the entire mural shall be considered part of the overall allowable signage permitted by code.
So we would measure the whole portion of the painted mural that
Mhm.
in addition to the text
On that facade,
based on that language.
on that facade.
Yes, correct.
How did this become before, since this has already been, did the business get sold or were they cited by code? Because this has been up there quite a while.
They were cited by code for murals without previous approvals.
Okay. When they cited them, did they indicate the signage situation at that time?
When staff had pre-applications meetings with the LC, it was noted then that that would be considered wall signage. So she was made aware of that. So it was always clear from the get-go.
Because when I looked at the application, I looked at when they applied for this, it was back in September,
But yeah.
and this is now March. That
Yeah.
we're finally talking, 6 months later, we're talking about this.
Mhm.
And if they now go apply for signage on this, is it going to be another 6 months? Is it going to be a year? I mean, this is what I'm struggling with here in making them change this
Mhm.
since it's been there. And then we're going to make a change. And just, I'm struggling with this.
Yeah, I just want to note that the submittals from the applicant took a minute to get to us, which is why it's just now coming to us. So that was really the case here, but the applicant is aware that this would be a wall sign on that west facade.
So I guess my thoughts on this is one, you know, we've talked before of having certain things within the code that we'd like to put onto a joint agenda. And I'd like to put 23.5-1E13C on that list? Because I think in some cases, we've had issues where somebody has a big mural and then there's a small portion of it that has the name of the business on it, and counting the entire mural as signage doesn't seem to be reflective of what we as a city want to do with regards to the visual appearance and signage and
That would
things
fall
like
into signage then, right? If there's a,
Right. So if
But
you
it-
had, if you like, if you have this big, beautiful mural and a small part, and then they count the entire thing, but it's really a consistent, beautiful, artistic way of expressing it. I think that our code should allow some flexibility where you don't count the entire thing. This in particular, like I understand. So my gut is to 100% go with code on this and have them follow exactly the recommendations. I think it is unfortunate. I think that especially like it's weird to me because Lapidus, that's facing the west side, which is basically facing the alley and the parking lot. So it's not even like signage that's really advertising the building. It's just part of their overall mural. They put that on that western side facing the back alley. It doesn't really make sense for them to have the cost of going and painting over it, especially just to like, I'm not even sure they're gonna have to repaint that whole wall, I guess, as opposed to just making the lettering smaller. My guess is they're probably just gonna eliminate the word Lapidas and come in with something totally different. But then do they have to come back before us because now it's considered a mural? So I think if we can allow within our thing that we would approve the entire thing, including the west facade minus the sign. So if they just wanted to replace Lapidas with, tacos or any, I don't know, a different word that they could go up there and do a minor repair to it. But it does, I agree with you, Greg. It's kind of weird that
Because
We're going back.
what I'm hearing was the entire mural on that wall would have to be replaced.
It would have to comply with our wall sign code.
it's that. So if you show it again, all that mural is, if you go back to the pictures, if you would please. So that's all it is. It's a 10 by 14 mural on that side.
Okay.
If you picture Lapidas, if you paint it
Yeah.
before, you've got the north and south side of the big long elevations, and those have the majority of the mural on it.
Okay.
The east side is where their little porch is, so they've got a small mural there, 4 by 6, and then the back side literally facing the
It's the alley.
restrooms and it's a very small thing. So, but it is kind of, to me, we as a board should be able to provide some. I would like for us as a board to be able to provide some leniency with regard to that, because the actual wording of Lapidas is small. You obviously have more artistic elements to it. It doesn't seem like you've got to make them go back through and spend the money to repaint that when they've already had an artist come in. But I don't know if we could ask staff, do we have as a board, I know they haven't applied for a variance. Is there any way for us to address that?
You all are not weighing in on the commercial component. That is done by a building permit through staff review. You are only looking at the murals. If they decide to leave the commercial message, that will go through the building permit process. If they decide to remove the commercial message, they would not need a sign permit.
So I believe that we had previously a mural. I'm trying to go back through memory. I believe the Bohemian, when they came before us, they had the flowers all up and down it, and there was like the word the Bohemian was somewhere in there. And my understanding is that we counted the word the Bohemian as part of signage, because even though it was on the same facade as mural, we were able to separate the artwork out from that.
If they, through that permit process, if there is a variance and they want to apply for it, then that would come back to you.
If we were to, you know where I'm going with this, and I understand. So if we were to say that we approve all of the murals, including the mural on the west facade, which is the entire 10 by 14 foot area, except for the 3 by 8 foot area that contains the word Lapidas, and therefore the rest of that artwork around it is approved.
Your approval is only of the murals. It does not approve the commercial signage. The applicant will have to decide what they want to do, either through the permit or removal of that commercial messaging as a sign.
And so I know that I believe, I may be recalling it wrong, but I believe in the past, staff brought before us a mural that had commercial messaging as part of a mural, and they were able to delineate what was mural and what was commercial signage without including the entire art as being, so with regards to that picture right there, if we were
If you
to,
would like us to look into that, we can table this and bring it back.
I'd rather give them their approval. So
Yeah, we're
it doesn't
gonna-
sound like, the
Well,
question
well,
is, do we
que-
have a way? If we
que-
don't,
Yeah.
then
Question for you, when that came in with the Bohemian, were they coming in with a variance? Because they're not coming in with a variance right now.
right. I don't think that they
Mhm.
are. Yeah, they're not requesting a variance, but I don't think if they knew.
No, when you did the Bohemian and had the words in there, was that a variance they were requesting?
I don't remember. I think that they may have, because again, I think in that case, that might have already been done as well. I think when the Bohemian came before us, that art was already, I don't remember. There was something that had already happened there. But I think at that time, they had worked with staff and kind of said, here's an option where we're going to consider this part of it. And that's what I'd like to look at within the code. You know, sometimes you have a big facade, you want to put a mural, and you want to put a small part of that mural that has it, counting the entire thing. It makes it where you can't, you know. I think, so my recommendation would be to approve this as staff recommends it, but I think we want to look at the code and how to clean that up.
Yeah, 'cause I really struggle with the idea of taking art away, especially a west facade, it's facing an alleyway. You know, I'm just struggling with this.
Yeah.
Just
We-
common sense.
We can also go back and look at the Bohemian approval, and if there's something that we can do based on your direction, then we can look at that and work with the applicant, but, and on a side note, you all already did recommend to the city commission to remove murals from the sign code and make a murals and sculptures attached to structures separate code section. So the, any murals that contain commercial messaging are just considered, are treated as signs. And that's, I think, the very basic statement is what it says in the code that's going to the commission in a couple weeks.
And that says the same thing, though. Any mural that has commercial messaging is considered signage.
Correct.
One follow-up question.
Any other comments from the board?
You all
I'm
need
not
to-
sure how we're going to handle this motion, and
Well, you
with
need
that
to-
in mind.
You need to, you all have spent a lot of time discussing the west facade. You need to discuss the
The
east
east side,
facade because
yeah.
that's really the part that requires your particular
Right.
attention.
Right.
So I'm in favor of allowing it on the east facade. I think we
Yeah.
have allowed it in the past before,
Yep,
you
I'll go
know,
with it.
but I think it looks good. It's not a lot of, you know, it's not
Did-
large or anything.
Did you want to make the motion and,
I do want to do, okay, so I will make a motion to approve PZB project number 25-00000034 for the mural installation on north, south, and west building at 301 North Dixie Highway and the east facade facing Dixie Highway. The application meets the mural criteria based on the data and analysis in the staff report. And I would like to further say that the board supports if staff looks at, if staff has a way to only consider the signage on the west side to be the actual wording and to allow the rest of the artwork to be approved as this motion as part of a mural. If there is that ability, looking back on what we did on the Bohemian, I would recommend that staff takes that action.
I'll second that.
all in favor of this motion presented to? Say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? So moved. And did the staff get the last part of that motion recorded? Thank you.
So the following slide contains the conditions of approval. We would require the applicant to submit a separate permit for the mural on the west facade.
No.
No,
No.
I think what
No,
I think what our motion was that if you are able to consider any area on the west facade as mural, that
Right,
our motion just approved that artwork as well.
correct.
Thank you.
Understood,
Okay.
noted, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want them to have to come back.
Yeah, that's why I asked if you had the last part of
I
that
mean,
motion.
certainly take a look at the precedent. We do have a text amendment that's in progress that kind of draws a line there, so
That's
you know,
not-
we'll take a look at everything and If we need to bring it back at a later date, we'll do so, on that matter. Okay?
That text amendment is not approved yet by the commission, right? Okay, so it's not, yeah, shouldn't apply to this decision regardless. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Let's move to, that's all our new business tonight, isn't it? Yep. Don't laugh about that. Is there any planning issues to discuss?
I do not have any, do you?
There are,
I just wanted to, I got my papers at home, but I will try and go from memory. You all had asked at your joint meeting for some clarification on some of the case law that was part of the variant presentation. And so I went back and looked at everything, and I believe the question was really related to when you're evaluating competent and substantial evidence, at what point can you consider aesthetic considerations? Am I remembering that correctly? Okay. So what the case law says is that broad statements of aesthetic considerations that I don't like that, or I really like that, it contributes or it doesn't contribute to the general aesthetics of the neighborhood, cannot be considered. But aesthetics combined with other evidentiary mechanisms or specific things that are pointed out that are not general in nature, but are very detailed and combined with other evidence can be considered. So I can bring additional information next time when I remember my papers. But that was the general information. And I put that extra information into the slideshow for next time.
be great if you, next time we have a meeting, maybe if we can just go over that one more time in case we have any
Happy to,
questions on that.
absolutely.
If I remember that correctly, there was, we know the 4 conditions for approving a variance that
Mhm.
have to be met. And we were talking about how the fact that they had to meet all, but then there was some other phrase or some other term in the presentation. And I think Glenn was actually at that meeting, right? Or there was somebody else, I think, at that meeting too, who was presenting that. And I remember there was like one slide that didn't match those where it seemed to have much, maybe it was the aesthetic, but for some reason I thought it was something, but it was a little bit more vague in terms of allowing us to apply. And we asked that question and it was, we'll get back to you. And
Right.
that's what,
So
Yeah.
the later slides really talk about how you establish competent and substantial evidence. And those are broad concepts because competent and substantial evidence applies to a variety of decisions that you all make, not just variances. The variance criteria is specific, and all 4 of those criteria as stated in the code must be met. There is no waiver on that. They have to be met. How you determine if they're met is through the competent and substantial evidence that's either on the record through the staff report or through documentation or conversation that's put on the record at the meeting. And you all don't always agree with what's in the staff report, and that's where you put those additional facts on the record to show the competent and substantial evidence that you relied on in making your decision that's different than what was in the staff report. So those are all things just to give you all some additional information and understanding of what competent and substantial evidence can look like, what it can be made of. And it, again, that doesn't just apply to variances, it applies to most of the decisions that you will make.
thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Still learning. I got most of that.
Okay, I don't think there's any public comments. I don't see the public here. Do you? No. Department reports, anything? Nope. Any comments from any of the board members?
Yeah, I had a couple of them from last meeting. First of all, who does the minutes here? Awesome. I mean, I felt like I read through this. I was like, oh my God, the meeting's right here. I really want I want to compliment you on that. It's great. It was funny. There was a lot of social media and a lot of messaging boards went up from our meeting about the coin operation that you brought up. And there was a lot of noise throughout the city on that one. And I do know that I did go and have the first Diet Coke at the bar on Monday morning at noon when they opened. But code went in on Friday and made them take all the coin apparatus out of all their machinery there. So just so you know that did take place. We all know that this took place, and I think there's just, a lot, as you mentioned, they're all up and down Lake Avenue, you know.
It's ubiquitous to a bar that you have coin operated.
What's that?
there. It's just part of like there are a lot of bars throughout Lake Worth, and I think that's very a broad. I want to look at that code language when we meet together because I
Yeah, that
think
was-
in terms of saying that that's a if you have a coin operated video game that's now a primary use of your facility doesn't make sense to me. If you have a vending machine in a library and people pay for food, you are not a primary use of a food distribution place. Vending machines, video games, coin operated pool tables should not constitute a primary use unless it is a primary use. And in that case, it's just not.
Jukebox also. They took it out. of
Well,
that
yeah,
too.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, if you're allowed music, but it just like,
Yeah.
you have codes that say you're distributing food. You have different things if you're a food distribution. If you have a vending machine in a space, that doesn't make you, just because you're charging for it, shouldn't be a primary use. Same thing with a coin operated pool table at a bar.
Well, there was a lot of, what are you guys doing? And it's like, no, this is code. You just brought up the fact that was in code. And, it was just funny. It was just, there was a lot of noise about that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's why I think we need to change that in code.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I do, yeah. And
Okay, before I close the meeting, I want to say goodbye and a special thank you to David Matthews, who will be leaving us. And I understand you'll be here in Lake Worth for a while, but be heading back to Tampa soon. A special thank you, and I came on at the same time, and it's been a pleasure sitting next to you. And good luck in the future and good health.
I enjoyed being on the board. Thank you.
thanks for all you've done for our city. You've done great.
Okay,
It's been
thank
an
you.
asset to the city. Wait to see you go, my
Yeah.
friend, even though you're not going to.
Okay, if there's no further business,
You guys-
I'd like to have a motion for adjournment.
Look, I would like to ask staff. I
I'm
know
sorry.
on other boards that I've been on, I think when I first was on this board and there were people that were leaving it, I think you guys kind of had a little certificate made for people that have been on the board for a while of appreciation. And I think if you guys are able to do a certificate of appreciation for Dave,
You should have it.
he should have it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we can adjourn 6:27. No other business, adjourn. Thank you.
Thank you.